community is very important to you, and I know that you have a young son that went through a lot of medical issues. And I had read that you said that, you know, so many of your neighbors that you didn't even know reached out to you when you were going through your time. Talk a little bit about that, because I think it's so important for people to realize that we sort of weave in and out of their lives because of personal experiences.
Yeah, and I don't talk much about that.
Right.
I mean, we're pretty private, but my youngest son is 6.5 years old now, and when he was born, he had some significant medical issues that required a lot of reconstructive surgery.
Right.
And going through that experience of spending years every week up at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles had a profound impact on how I decided to spend the rest of my life.
Right.
And I can definitely say that experience is what led me to run for city council.
Right.
And the reason was I'd always been involved in the community. I'd always volunteered for many different things. But seeing all of the people come out and help us, many of them I didn't really know.
Right.
But boy, they showed up when we needed them. That after he was done with his surgeries, and I'll have to tell you this, we were very lucky because what my young son was suffering from was correctable.
It's great.
And he's fine today.
Yeah, he's great. We remember seeing him at the holiday Santa.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And he's in kindergarten now, and he's doing great. So all that's behind him.
Right.
But the combination of seeing what all of these young families go through with their children up at Children's Hospital with problems that are not correctable really changed how I look at things.
Right.
And boy, it's a whole lot better than most of us really think.
Right.
I mean, if we think we've got it tough, and from my perspective, I mean, the things that I had gone through that I thought were difficult, really weren't. I mean, even the hardest times when I was in the military on a combat mission inside the DMZ, even those hardest times, the difficulty was with me, which I could deal with. What I realized as a parent is that when you've got a son who's going through all this, just that feeling of not being able to do anything for it, it's just out of your hands, is much worse, I think, than whatever I ever went through. At least that's how I processed it. But having gone through that period in our lives, I changed my career, I changed my business, I moved everything much closer to home, I redoubled my efforts in the community, and I thought ultimately that where I could do the best good is on city council.
What's it been like for you since you've been there? What kind of experience has it been so far?
A lot more interesting than I thought.
You know, I think interesting is a good way to put it.
But I've been in office 17 months now, and I can tell you this: it's a lot more work than I thought to do the job right. But the satisfaction that I get out of it is much more than I thought as well. I mean, I thought it was going to be much more involved in just the bureaucracy and thousands of pages of reports and things like this. And what I realized is, as a member of city council, there's a lot of flexibility that you've got in how you can approach the job.
Right.
If you want to be a policy wonk, you can be one. If you want to be out there in the community and communicating more with people, you can do that. There's lots of different personal styles and skill sets that can work on city council. One of my goals, now that I'm part of city council now, is to encourage as many good people, and Rancho Palos Verdes has got a lot of
really great people,
really good people that would be tremendous council people, way more than I think most people realize.
I agree.
Is to encourage them to come out and run, and also do what I can to help create a political environment where people feel safe enough to run.
To do it, right.
And I think one of the hallmarks of the election campaign that I went through, there were 7 of us running for 2 seats on council, is we really worked hard to run a positive campaign, not just for us, but to make sure that we could do what we could with the other candidates to create a positive environment. And I think most people agree that that election in 2009, when Anthony Misitich and I came out as the top 2 vote getters, that was the most positive campaign that the city had seen in many, many, many years.
Absolutely.
So one of my goals is to help replicate that going forward. I think it's good for the city. The more former council people we can have,
right,
as the years go by, I think the better off the city is.
Well, and the people get to know you also as part of the community, which is great.
That's very true as well.
Now, what do you like to do away from city council, away from your job? What do you like to do? You said, you mentioned volleyball. What else do you like to do for hobbies?
I am the most boring guy you will ever meet.
TV guy.
And if you need proof of that, just ask my wife.
Okay.
But I really enjoy my work. I'm in the commercial real estate business.
Right. But you got to do something for fun, Brian.
I play volleyball occasionally,
that's good.
every other week.
All right.
I spend a lot of time with my kids.
You do? And do they play sports? What kind of things do your kids like to do?
They're always involved in sports.
That's what I thought.
It's baseball season right now.
Right, absolutely.
But they both play flag football, basketball, soccer. I mean, we're always doing sports. They've got, we tell our kids, my oldest is 9, my youngest is 6.5, but we tell them, you got 4 things to focus on in life. That's it. Your life is simple. And number 1 is eat everything your mom makes you, because it's pretty healthy.
It's good for you, yep.
Number 2, try hard at school, because the better you do at school, the more freedom you'll have later on in life.
True.
Number 3, have friends. Find new friends. You can never have too many friends.
Sure.
And number 4, sports.
There you go.
Just sports. Your life's simple. It's great. Believe me, it gets a whole lot more complicated when you get older.
It definitely does.
But
did you play sports growing up yourself?
I did. My parents always had me involved in something year-round.
Okay.
I was never really any good at much of anything except swimming. That's probably not true. I was probably an above-average athlete at just about everything, but definitely not a standout.
Did you like to try different sports? Was that?
Oh, in high school, I went out for the golf team, the track team, the swimming team, the basketball team, the baseball team.
There you go.
And I could tell you, I got cut from the baseball team, the golf team, the basketball team, the track team. I would try anything, but I actually was a halfway decent swimmer in high school, and I ended up being a walk-on at the University of Colorado. So I swam my freshman.
You were pretty good. You were a pretty good swimmer then, Brian.
Better than average.
Okay,
better than average.
That's good. Now I have to ask you, because we're on a beautiful golf course here at Trump National. Are you a golfer?
I love golf.
Okay.
I love golf. I don't play as much as I did before the kids came, but
sure.
I absolutely love golf.
Great. Now, I know this is a huge question, but of everything in our community, what do you like the most about living here? I know it's a tough one.
That is a tough question.
Yes. Is there something?
Well, you're going to have to go off camera with that for a minute. I don't know if it's the pelicans up there, or the dolphins, or the schools, or our neighbors. I don't know. But I've lived here longer than it's only been 12 and a half years, but
right.
I've lived here longer in Rancho Palos Verdes than any place I've ever lived. So perhaps what I like most is that it is really home.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And for the first time, probably in my life, there's nowhere else that I really aspire to be. This is it. So, I'm here for the duration, and look at this.
I know,
that's
the
what
thing.
I dreamed of when I was a little boy growing up in Colorado, and thinking of how great Southern California was, and listening to the Beach Boys and things like that. This is it.
There you go. So
and we're sitting here at Trump.
It doesn't get too much better than that. Brian Campbell, thank you so much for being with us and sharing a little bit of your life today.
Okay.
And thank you so much for watching City Talk. I'm Maria Sorreo, and we will see you next time.